Jim, Rowan, how you going? We got some more history to talk about. So, a quick recap of where we're up to in terms of the title picture. Should have had this set up already. The heavyweight champion, if you listened to the last podcast, you heard about this title change. Tanahashi took the title back from Nagata on the 8th of October at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Explosion '07 show. Great third match between those two of this year. The tag team titles are still with Giant Bernard and Travis Tomco since March. Junior heavyweight champion is Taguchi since July. And the junior tag titles are with Dick Togo and Taka Michinoku since May. For the tournaments, we had the Best of Super Juniors 14 winner Milano Collection AT. Earlier in the year, Yujinagar won the New Japan Cup and Hiroshi Tanahashi was the G1 Climax winner. But we're going to start this podcast with the final tournament for the year, the G1 Tag League. This took place between the 18th of October and the 2nd of November. The participants were the teams of Akebono and Masahiro Chono, Ghetto and Giardo, Giant Bernard and Travis Tomco, the current IWGP Tag Team Champions, Hiroki Goto and Milano Collection AT, Koji Kanamoto and Hiroshi Tanahashi, Takashi Iizuka and Naofumi Yamamoto, Togi Makabe and Toru Yano, and Yujinagar and Manabu Nakanishi. So that's... Akebono's not in Legend, but he's like a friend of Legend. Chono, of course, is in Legend. Ghetto and Giardo are GBH. Giant Bernard and Travis Tomco. Where are they right now? They were in the Black stable. So what did that turn into? Because Nakamura hasn't been around. And then Goto, Milano, Tanahashi and Kanamoto were kind of just main unit. So's Nagata and Nakanishi at this stage. Togi Makabe and Yano, of course, are GBH. But yeah, well, those are the teams. And the first Tag League event was on the 18th of October. Akebono and Chono defeated Hiroki Goto and Milano Collection. There was a 2-on-1 match here. And if you listen to the last podcast, we talked about Travis Tomco, wrestling for TNA. And he's actually the current World Tag Team Champion, one half of the Tag Team Champions in TNA with AJ Styles. And it was a scheduling conflict that meant that his partner, Giant Bernard, had to take on Togi Makabe and Toru Yano by himself. It was a handicap match. So GBH went up there, 2 points for the win. And then there was Tanahashi and Kanamoto defeating Yamamoto and Iizuka. So all of those winning teams gained 2 points to start the tournament. 2 days later, on the 20th, Yamamoto and Iizuka took a win back, defeating Goto and Milano, who stay on 0 points. Bernard and Tomco reunited again, defeated Ghetto and Giardo. And Makabe and Yano went to 4 points, defeating Manabu Nakanishi and Yujinagar, taking an early lead. The 21st, Akebono and Chono went to 4 points as well, defeating Yamamoto and Iizuka. Nakanishi and Nagata picked up their first 2 points over the champions, Bernard and Tomco. And Goto and Milano picked up their first points over Tanahashi and Kanamoto. So that's kind of evened things out. The 22nd, Yamamoto and Iizuka pick up another win over Makabe and Yano. That's a big win for them. So both of those teams on 4 points. Ghetto and Giardo pick up their first win over Nakanishi and Nagata. And Tanahashi and Kanamoto go to 4 points as well over Akebono and Chono. None of these, I couldn't find any of these matches on YouTube. So unfortunately, I'm just reading results here. Yeah, oh well. We'll go through it. This is how it happened. So then, what was that? 22nd. So the 23rd, Ghetto and Giardo won against Yamamoto Iizuka. Bernard and Tomco defeated Goto and Milano. Nakanishi and Nagata defeated Tanahashi and Kanamoto. So again, everything's pretty close. There's no runaway leader. Although having said that, the first to go to 6 points is Yamamoto and Iizuka, which is a big surprise. And even more surprising again, they defeated the tag team champions to do so, Bernard and Tomco, who are only on 4 points. So that's Yamamoto and Iizuka that have earned themselves a title shot no matter what. Well, not no matter what, but, you know, they've pinned the champions. And who else beat Nakanishi and Nagata? They just recently had a shot at the titles, I believe, and lost. So, I don't know, I guess that puts Yamamoto and Iizuka in a decent spot for a title shot. Although, of course, they'd be even stronger if they were to win the tournament. Also going to 6 points was Makabe and Yano defeating Akebono and Chono. Goto and Milano picked up a win over Nakanishi and Nagata. And Tanahashi and Kanamoto went to 6 points as well, defeating Ghetto and Giardo. The 26th, Goto and Milano defeated Makabe and Yano. This tournament's really 50-50. It doesn't sound very good, to be honest. I don't know if I might be kind of quietly glad that they didn't upload any of these matches on the YouTube, because on the YouTube, talking like a octogenarian, just because, I mean, you know, why aren't these prominent tag teams, like, so for example, the tag team champions, Giant Bernard and Travis Tomco on this card on the 26th, they defeat Tanahashi and Kanamoto to go to 6 points, but Tanahashi and Kanamoto are already on 6 points. Why is a thrown together team like that, doing just as well as the tag champions in this tournament? I understand they got off on the wrong foot with Tomco not being available for that first match, but still, Yamamoto and Iizuka are on 6 points. Nakanishi and Nagata, that's a prominent team, that's fair enough, like 6 points for them, okay, but Ghetto and Giardo, I mean, they're a good tag team as well, but they're juniors. Everyone's on 6 points. Anyway, 27th, Goto and Milano, another good example of this tournament sounding like it sucks. 8 points. They're the first to go to 8. They beat Ghetto and Giardo. Akebono and Chono, the guys trailing everyone else, I believe, they get their win, their obligatory win, it seems, to go to 6 points over Nakanishi and Nagata. And then Tanahashi and Kanamoto go to 8 points as well, defeating, again, another strong tag team in Makabe and Yano. And then they had a bigger card before the finals in Kobe World Hall. 7,000 people attended to see, I guess this must have been the final league match. Togi Makabe and Toru Yano went to 8 points when they defeated Ghetto and Giardo. Giant Bernard and Travis Tomco also went to 8 points, defeating Akebono and Chono. And they also had a championship match. Koji Kanamoto got his shot at Taguchi's Junior Heavyweight Championship, but he lost in just under 22 minutes. Taguchi retains. That was pretty rough for Kanamoto to give him the title shot at the end of a tournament he's in, but oh well, there you go. So yeah, that's the end of the G1 Tag League league matches. So the points ended up like this. It's 8 teams. We had Bernard and Tomco, Goto Milano, Kanamoto Tanahashi, and Makabe and Yano, all on 8 points. And then Iizuka Yamamoto, Ghetto and Giardo, Nagata Nakanishi, and Akebono and Chono, all on 6 points. So it's just the top half and the bottom half. I mean, that just looks so stale. They aren't. I mean, it'd be one thing if you were like, wow, we have so many great tag teams, and they all just, beat each other. You never know who's going to win. But that's really not, they don't have that strong of a tag division. Akebono and Chono, seriously? I get that Chono should be given some, I mean, and I guess, Akebono just because he's big. Fair enough, they want to give him a bit of leeway. Why do Iizuka and Yamamoto need to win a single match? At all? Why have they got any points? Like, that's unnecessary. Ghetto and Giardo, they don't really need this. If they're not going to win it and be like, oh wow, Ghetto and Giardo are back and they're in the heavyweight division, like they don't get anything from this, and they wouldn't lose anything from just getting one win. Everyone knows how good they are. They've proven that. They're not even the current junior tag champions. Like, if they were the current champions, then you'd be like, oh well, we don't want to make the junior tag champions look bad, but they're not. Kanamoto and Tanahashi don't need. I mean, both of them are more focused on their singles career. Kanamoto had a title match at the end of this tour, and of course Tanahashi's the heavyweight champion. I mean, I don't see why they need to be winning matches. Goto and Milano, I mean, fair enough that both of them are kind of getting a push, but they don't need that as a tag team, and they I mean, similarly, I suppose they would be more focused on their singles careers. It just doesn't make sense that they would make it that even, to me. It just doesn't sound that good. Anyway, because it was a 4-way tie at the top, there was... they just randomly drew the semi-final matches. So we've entered November, by the way. The 2nd of November, we had the semi-finals. Actually, it's all on the one show, in fairness. Before the Tag League matches, we did have Minoru and Prince Devitt defeating Taguchi and Naito in a tag match. But getting to the main ones here, the G1 Tag League 2007 semi-final, Giant Bernard and Travis Tomco versus Togi Makabe and Toru Yano. This one is on YouTube. I'll link it in the description. Of course, this is a chance for Giant Bernard to have a proper match against these guys, because Tomco wasn't available last time. So now it's a 2-on-2 match. GBH rushed the Americans at the beginning, and the fight promptly spills outside the ring. In Makabe and Tomco's case, it goes beyond the fans and pretty much right out into the back. Meanwhile, Bernard has a chair, but Makabe makes it back to low blow him before he can use it, and Yano strikes Bernard with the chair instead. The crowd cheer when Bernard makes his comeback, but Tomco's hot tag is met with far less excitement. Bernard stops Makabe from interfering once, but the next time he enters, Makabe takes a choke bomb from Tomco, and then they both hit Magic Killer on Yano to go to the final. Just under 7 minutes this match, not a long one. Then in the other semi-final, also on YouTube, link in the description, Hiroshi Tanahashi and Koji Kanamoto defeated Hiroki Goto and Milano Collection AT. Sorry for the spoiler, but I've only got a short description of it anyway. So Tanahashi, he gets a mixed response, actually. But he's in tremendous shape. Goto's the one receiving the chants from the attendees. So, as covered in the last podcast, Hiroki Goto is next in line for a shot at Tanahashi's championship. So, and the fans are pretty on board with the idea of a title change, it seems. Of course, that can't happen here. This is the tag league, so this match was a far more technical bout, but that's not to say it lacked grit or physicality, because Goto and Tana, they slapped the crap out of each other. And then Goto does the same with Koji, with big kicks coming back the other way. Victoria Milanese is rolled through into an ankle lock, but then Milano puts down the referee, and Goto uses the ref's back as a platform to launch himself at Koji, breaking the hold. Tanahashi tags in, but Milano dodges with his matrix gymnastics, and the pair go to work together on Tanahashi. The champion dodges a kick from Milano, then hits a sling blade for 2. Milano turns to the referee around and strikes with a donkey kick low blow, but Tanahashi kicks out of that, and then the crowd chant for Milano, but Tanahashi dodges his kick once again, slams him down, then finishes him with the high fly flow to advance to the tag league final alongside partner Koji Kanamoto, of course. And then we had a few matches in between here. Tiger Mask defeating Yujiro. The Legend guys beating the Great Bash Heel guys again. Yujinagar defeating Naofumi Yamamoto. Now this one's significant because it's the last singles match that Yamamoto will have for New Japan before leaving for FCW/WWE. Yamamoto was to become Yoshitatsu in WWE. And this loss was to Nagata, or this final match with Nagata, was significant because Nagata was his mentor as he was coming up. So in the way New Japan does things, that was his assigned senpai. So I think he does wrestle one more match before he leaves, but that's it for Yamamoto, off to become Yoshitatsu. We also had Akebono, Chono, and Choshu defeating Nakanishi, Hirasawa, and Iizuka. Now on to the final. The G1 Tag League 2007 final, Giant Bernard and Travis Tomco against Hiroshi Tanahashi and Koji Kanamoto. This is also up on YouTube, link in the description if you'd like to see how this tournament came to a close. Similar to Tanahashi's last match, all the fans are chanting for his opponent, which is Bernard this time, Bernard in particular. There's some high-pitched fans that come back in Tanahashi's favour, but no one likes that he ignores Bernard's handshake. There's a very clear big, strong brawler versus little, quick technician dynamic to this match, and kind of between the two teams. Kanamoto in particular shows himself to be just as durable, however, perhaps hits just as hard as well, or kicks as hard, at least. And then when things become too much, Tanahashi gets back in and they work together to throw Bernard around. There's a high fly flow that lands on Bernard, and then a moonsault from Koji, but Tomco breaks up the pin. They both get choke bombs from the bigger fellas, and then they hit a magic killer as well on Koji, which requires a save from Tanahashi. He then takes out Tomco before quickly returning to the ring, but being knocked down by Bernard. The American attempts a TKO, but it only earns him a 2 count. Kanamoto tries coming back, but is caught in the corner and power-bombed in the center, or Bernard-bombed, more accurately. And that's the finish. Bernard over Kanamoto to claim the G1 Tag League as the current IWGP Tag Team Champions. Giant Bernard and Travis Tomco, the big tournament win with the straps already around their waist. That's very impressive. for those two. Tomco in particular, what a year! Also became TNA World Tag Team Champion. So, good for him. And that's the G1 Tag League. But we'll move right along. There's a big card just around the corner. First, though, another unique match here. NJPW Camp Zama Slam Fest at Camp Zama, which is a United States Army post. So not a big card, but this is when Yamamoto wrestled his final match. So Tomohiro Ishii and Yano defeated he and Nagata. So, it's his last New Japan match for now, anyway. He, this time, tags with his mentor, Nagata. They lose, and Yamamoto is off for the developmental brand WWE has, at this time, FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling. And then, I guess that's the last we'll probably hear from him on this podcast. It was 2009 when he kind of graduated and joined the ECW brand under the ring name Yoshitatsu. And I didn't see much of his work in WWE. I think he was kind of an undercard guy, a bit of maybe even a comedy guy. I don't know, but it's I don't know if you could say it's a shame. I mean, he might be happy with that. He made his money or what have you, got more exposure. But he did seem to be lined up for a push in New Japan. It seemed they did like him. The fans seemed to like him. He was pretty popular without having really won any significant matches. So, and obviously, yeah, the WWE saw something in him. Also on that card was Giant Bernard and Travis Tomco defeating Togi Makabe, this time with Honma, just to really drive home the fact that they, like Legend, are also much better than GBH. Okay, on the 11th of November, New Japan held Destruction 2007 in Sumo Hall again. Down from last month, though. They only drew 6,500 this time. Tanahashi versus Nagata, I think it was 7,800. But this one started with Kanamoto and Inoue defeating Taguchi and Yujiro. Then Togi Makabe, back to singles action, defeated Milano Collection AT. We had Bono Tiger and Tiger Mask defeating Honma and Tomohiro Ishii. So, this is not Akabono's first appearance as Bono Tiger. In 2006, he was presented with a tiger mask and the name of Bono Tiger to team with Tiger Mask. Akabono then kind of went on from there to show his comedic side as a wrestler. He was imitating and parroting other fighters as well, before moving to Hustle, where he was known as Monster Bono, which was a childlike personality under the control of his mother. So back in New Japan now, of course, and back with the Bono Tiger gimmick. I guess it's Bono, right? Akabono, Bono Tiger. No affiliation with U2. Christopher Daniels and Senshi, also known as Low-Key, defeated Minoru and Prince Devitt, who were tagging together a fair bit now. Prince. I don't know if they're known as... I think they are. I think they're Prince at this point. Proper tag team. And Low-Key, or Senshi, and Christopher Daniels over from TNA. Another TNA wrestler here, Rhino, defeated Toru Yano. Rhino moved on from WWE in 2005 to TNA, and comes over and beats Yano. I don't know. I didn't get the impression that Rhino was necessarily that strongly booked in TNA, but I guess he fits the the reputation TNA had of just, it's a WWE guy. Let's push him over our guys. Hey, AJ Styles, you want to lose to Rhino? And the main event what am I talking about? I guess it's the main event of the undercard. We saw Akira, Liger, Chono, Choshu, and Super Strong Machine defeat Hirasawa, Taichi Ishikari, Iizuka, Ueno, and Naito. So no surprises there. It's not exactly a very strong team for the Legends to go up against. But it has been a successful run so far for the faction Legend. They really haven't dropped many a fall at all since forming, despite all kind of being older fellas. But to the two main events here. First, we had the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles on the line. Dick Togo and Taka Michinoku. I feel like this match has happened 10 times this year, against Ghetto and Giardo. Actually, I've skipped one. So there was that match, and the champions retained in just over 20 minutes. I couldn't find a copy of that or a way to watch that one. But then there was also, I raised the question before of, some affiliations, where Bernard and Tomco sat, where everything kind of sits. Part of the confusion there was that Nakamura was gone because, of course, Chono ended Black, New Japan Black, that faction, to start Legend, and Nakamura got injured. So this match here is Giant Bernard and Shinsuke Nakamura defeating Manabu Nakanishi and Yuji Nagata. And it's Nakamura's first match back from the knee injury that was back in the G1 against Nagata. Was it a knee injury? I thought it was a shoulder injury. I've got knee injury here. In any case, he was injured, and it was off that avalanche exploder suplex. He ended up finishing the match, but they had to call it off. I remember, maybe it was actually a knee injury, but he was selling the shoulder, if he's just that much of a pro, which it's possible, I would believe that. But I just remember Nagata in that match putting on a really weak kind of armbar, and I thought it was a shoulder injury. But in any case, Nakamura's back to deal some revenge on Nagata, and upon returning here, Nakamura forms the group to be known as Rise, R-I-S-E. So he brings on Milano, the tag champs, Bernard and Tomco, they stay together, and Prince Devitt, and Minoru, they join as well. As well as, now this is interesting. This is a little storyline inside of Rise here. So Nakamura's not had the best luck with his factions, with Black going down and is injured. He kind of comes back and everything's in disarray. He's trying to pull everyone together. So Nakamura, Bernard and Tomco, Milano, Prince Devitt, Minoru. The other member that he recruits is the title challenger in the main event, Hiroki Goto. This match is on World. I'll link it in the description. Of course, you'd need a subscription to World to watch it, but you can find it there. Quick note, I actually went back and had a look. I mentioned in the last podcast that there was the wrong date on I think it was the Tanahashi and Nagata match, and I noticed that they've since fixed that. So I was right, but you'll probably think I'm crazy now if you go back and look at it. But it was wrong before, and they've fixed it now. You'll have to take my word for it. Anyway, so for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, Hiroshi Tanahashi defends against Hiroki Goto. Goto just returned in August from excursion. He put on a bit of weight since being a junior, and as just mentioned, is joined Rise now. By the way, which stands for Real International Super Elite. That's like, what are some cool words? Let's just put them all together. What are some words that make us sound important? Let's just put all those together. Well, that's what it is. Rise. So, of course, foreshadowing to this match as well in the G1 Tag League that we just covered, Milano Collection was his teammate, and they went up against Kanamoto and Tanahashi. Of course, Tanahashi got the better of him on that occasion to get to the final. But Goto and Tanahashi have faced each other in tag matches quite often since Goto's return. So this has been building for a while. August. So Goto returned shortly after Tanahashi's G1 Climax victory. That was the one he was in the... Was that the one he was in the audience for? No, I think that was the title match that came after that. But, it's been building for a while, is all I'm saying. So, Goto walks down and he's got his teammates around him. Bernard, Tomco's there, Devitt's there, Minoru, Milano. Devitt's bleached blonde, by the way. You'll notice him if you watch this. Stands out. And then Nakamura actually is at ringside as well, but I think he might have entered a bit more discreetly because I didn't notice him until a little while into the match. But Tanahashi walks down alone, though through a sea of fans. They're all reaching out to him. That kind of narrow ramp in Sumo Hall kind of creates a cool scene as Tanahashi comes down. He's got a new shiny black outfit as well. Goto's pretty simple. He's just black trunks, black boots. He's got a kind of a sleeveless coat on, and a pretty cool theme. Goto. Actually, I'll link that in the description too. I found that just his theme from back then, not bad. But anyway, to this match. At the first opportunity, Tanahashi elects to slap Goto rather than break clean. So Goto tries the same move, but Tanahashi ducks and slaps him again, and this really fires Goto up, sends him into a frenzy, and it's off to the races. They just forego the usual mat wrestling, and Tanahashi lands a scoop slam. Goto bounces straight back up and throws an elbow into his jaw. Goto shows off his recently improved strength when tested, and bests Tanahashi at the first ask. He stays standing for a shoulder block and then a drop kick, but then he barrels both bodies over the top rope with a lariat. When Tanahashi rises, Goto tries to suplex him into the ring, but it's resisted and countered. Goto suddenly finding his legs being swung into the ring post. Tanahashi continues the trend inside the ring with continuous attacks to the left leg. It takes quite a while for Goto to fight out of, but when he does, his motion does not appear greatly affected. And he isn't afraid to kick with the left leg. So the first attempt at a sling blade is countered into a sleeper, and that's converted into a dragon sleeper. Tanahashi flips it over, and Goto scrambles to the ropes. From there, Tanahashi stays heavy with repeated drops on Goto. In particular, a senton from the second rope that lands with a thud across his ribs. Tanahashi's playing the role of the veteran in a way here, really testing Goto's resolve with offense designed to wear him out. There's a dragon screw through the ropes that sees Goto tumble out of the ring, and then a running senton sends him into the concrete in front of his stablemates. Goto fights fire with fire, stopping himself from being thrown into the post, instead sending Tanahashi into it. And then he flies toward Tanahashi with a kick against the barricade, bounces over the ropes from inside the ring to land on the champion, who's still outside the ring. He makes a pin after a top rope elbow drop, having brought this advantage back to the ring, but a fake out lariat tricks Tanahashi at first and then is countered into on the second rebound with a sling blade. So they find some even ground now. They're firing forearms back and forth to an exhausting degree. Just when Goto thinks he's won, he misses, and Tanahashi releases a German suplex. Goto, to his credit, though, he pops straight back up, delivers one of his own, spiking Tanahashi on his head. Now the back and forth is in the form of open palm strikes, and they connect back and forth hard. There are larger gaps between the attempts as they both struggle to stay standing. Goto resorts to punches and the referee berates him to little effect. Goto pushes Uno off him in the corner. Tanahashi takes advantage with a kick to the groin. So that's interesting. Goto's getting desperate and starting to bend the rules, and so that's when Tanahashi is like, alright, you want to fight dirty? Let's fight dirty. And that kick to the groin's followed by a sling blade and then another. The referee is there to make the pin, but he only reaches 2. Goto snaps his arm down to save himself from a dragon suplex, so instead Tanahashi hauls him over with the straitjacket German. That gets a 2. Goto's bleeding from the mouth, but he continues to fight Tanahashi off, so the attacks go back to the legs. There's a cloverleaf that's locked on in the center of the ring, and Goto's in big trouble, but the audience applauds when he makes it to the ropes. At this point, though, Goto's struggling to stand. Tanahashi goes up to the top. He comes down with the high fly flow. Goto puts his legs up and doesn't seem to think much of doing so, even though he's supposed to have bad legs at this point. He stands up to take advantage. He lands a brutal back suplex, like one of Nagata's. And then he signals that he's going for the kill before hitting the Shouten, the vertical suplex side slam. So if you don't know that one, so it's like a vertical suplex, a brainbuster. He gets him up, and then from the way he brings them up, he swings them back down the same way, but he takes their legs out from under them. Almost like an STO. Like the legs swing right through and he slams them down. It's a pretty strong finish. Because I could easily see that knocking someone out. But Tanahashi kicks out of that one when he pins after the Shouten, and Goto, he can't really think of anything else to go for, so he goes for it again, and this time Tanahashi counters it into a cradle, and when that doesn't work, a backslide, and then Goto takes Tanahashi's back, and it looks like Tanahashi tries to counter with a German suplex by leaning forward into a sunset pin, but Goto drops him on his head. Let me try and picture that. Goto takes his back. Tanahashi tries to counter a German suplex by rolling forward. I see. So Goto's behind Tanahashi. Tanahashi tries to roll both of them over, but Goto, when Tanahashi puts his head down, just drops straight down on his head. Damn. And then he appears to have him pinned right there, but he falls back as Tanahashi clutches his neck. So the referee tries to stop Goto and wants to call in the doctor, but Goto pushes everyone out of the way and he targets the neck with a Ushigoroshi. Once again, he fails to make the pin. Instead, he leaps into the air to deliver elbows to the back of Tanahashi's neck, and then he goes to the top rope to deliver a really big one, but he does pin then and Tanahashi kicks out. He's not done yet though. Goto deadlifts Tanahashi up and drops him with an Emerald Flosion, only for Tanahashi to kick out of that as well. So it seemed like Goto was out of ideas before, but he's been inspired since. So Goto goes to the turnbuckle again, but this time Tanahashi meets him there, though he soon would wish that he didn't. After trying to set up an exploder, Goto fights him off and lands a sunset flip bomb off the top rope, and Tanahashi has to kick out again. But this might sound a bit too much, and I actually would agree. But the crowd are buying into all of these pinfalls, and Goto's looking like the real deal as well. But when it looks like Goto's going for the Shouten again, Tanahashi turns it into a half sling blade. Goto kicks out of that, or he kicks out of the preceding German suplex at 1. And then Goto hits a lariat. He hits 1, and then the second one's countered into a dragon suplex, which is the second time that going for the same move twice in a row has cost him. Because if you recall from before, he went for a second Shouten and Tanahashi read it. He kicks out of the dragon suplex though, so Tanahashi hits him with the 12-6, which is the Fisherman Buster, and that goes, and then he goes straight to the turnbuckle when that pin fails, and intentionally comes down with the high fly flow on the legs of Goto, and then he hooks on the cloverleaf, and now Goto has nowhere to go. It leads to the submission victory and successful championship defense for Hiroshi Tanahashi, still your IWGP Heavyweight Champion. So, yeah, I mean, I still thought it was a very good match in terms of my rating system. Terrible, bad, disappointing, fine, good, very good, great, special. I called it very good. And, I mean, look, it's obvious what was the idea here is to establish Goto as a fully formed heavyweight and a title contender. And then the story of the match, I think when Tanahashi started to make things uncomfortable for him, he showed toughness and a willingness to give as good as he got. And while that aspect was good, I felt like Goto's selling was lacking, particularly his selling of the left leg, which was worked pretty heavily in the opening, in the first act, I guess you could say, of the match. But it continued throughout, and it just, the selling wasn't there to make it any more than a very good match. Tanahashi's happy to play heel, which does create an interesting dynamic in his matches sometimes, but that changed in this one, when he was dropped on his head. When Goto was really going for the kill. Like, Goto hit a switch halfway through this match when he started throwing those punches, and his attacks became more violent. There was when he did drop him on his head quite badly, and the referee wanted the doctors in, and Goto pushed them all out. So that kind of turned the audience, not necessarily turned them on Goto, I suppose, just created sympathy for Tanahashi and maybe got them more behind him. There was also an odd thing in this match was Goto. There was a few times when Goto seemed to avoid pins, when Tanahashi kind of always made Goto have to kick out of a pin after any significant move, or even just, when he would try a cradle or what have you. Tanahashi's always happy to do that, which also plays into the how he would just try and wear on Goto, as I mentioned, almost playing a veteran in a way. But so I don't know if not pinning was a bit of an experience from Goto, or if it was actually malicious intent to hurt Tanahashi, like maybe he really hates him for some reason. But look, overall, Goto showed a lot of promise, and it just lacking in psychology a bit, I thought. But still a very good match and worth checking out. Now, after this match, Nakamura doesn't give Tanahashi any time to celebrate. He comes straight down, he enters the ring, he snatches the microphone, he gets in Tanahashi's face and makes his challenge for the title. But before he can finish, Makabe comes out and takes the mic from Nakamura, disputes the challenge, likely throwing in that he's beaten Nakamura twice this year in singles action, and maybe something to do with the fact that Nakamura hasn't done anything for months. He's been off injured. But Nakamura's Rise teammates get between them, and Makabe leaves. And then Nakamura and Goto and their crew leave. So Tanahashi's ceremony can continue, though he's struggling to stand. And his condition cuts the interview short, and he doesn't sign off as he usually would. But I mean, again, it's really just kind of paying tribute to Goto's ability that he took Tanahashi all the way, and that's how to get him over, even though he lost, I suppose. So Goto's now in the mix, and of course Nakamura wants to be in the mix, and they're on the same team, so that might be a bit awkward to come. Create an awkward moment. But yeah, that was the last big one, I would say. We'll run out the rest of the year. We've got 5 minutes to kill or so. So back at TNA, they had the Genesis show, TNA Genesis 2007. Jay Lethal defended the X Division title. AJ Styles and Tomco defended the tag titles against the Steiner brothers successfully in both those cases. Samoa Joe beat Rob Roode. There was a number one contender match for the TNA World title in a ladder match. Kaz defeating Christian Cage. Who's Kaz? Is that Kazarian? Let's see. Let's find Kaz. Is it Bill Kazmaier? Kaz from Palm Springs. That's Frankie Kazarian. Yeah, I think it's Kazarian. There's a few Kazes though. Kaz Hayashi, that's a different one. Anyway, okay. Not that matters anyway. And then there's a World Heavyweight title match in a tag match. Wait, hold on. What is this? TNA World Heavyweight title tag team match. Kurt Angle is champion and Kevin Nash defeated Booker T and Sting. So what happened? Sting beat Kurt Angle. I don't know what that's about. Do we bother? Do we look up what mischief and nonsense TNA's got up to with their heavyweight title? Actually, let's go Wikipedia for this one. Let's see here on the title reigns. Impact World Champions. So we have in May... Oh no, we already covered that. So Kurt Angle was champion from June 17th. Sting did beat him October 14th at Bound for Glory. But then Kurt Angle beat him on Impact 2 days later. Although the episode didn't air until a week or two after that. So Sting had a reign of 2 days as champion. Okay, so that is correct. I guess if Kevin Nash lost the match, or maybe just if Kurt Angle was pinned in that tag match, whether it be Booker T or Sting would have won the world title. Very strange. I mean, I appreciate the want to be creative, TNA, but yeah, I don't know about some of this stuff. Anyway, back to New Japan. We had a Rise match, all the boys together, then the 23rd of November. Goto, Milano, Minoru, Devitt, and Nakamura defeated GBH. Of course, GBH is getting, not having fun the second half of this year. But don't worry, you look out. GBH in 2008 is a very significant force. So don't count him out yet. On the 24th, we had a lock-up show. Ishii became the WW number one contender. No, WW heavyweight title, that is. He defeated Daisuke Sakamoto. And then on the 25th of November, Nakamura defeated Yano. Makabe defeated Goto. That's a big win. Makabe defeating Goto, really making it strong that he's a title contender here. And of course Nakamura. Yano not quite on the same level, but I mean the last singles match for him was Rhino, I think he lost. But going into December, it's pretty obvious what is still left to do, which is decide the main event at Wrestle Kingdom in January. Who's going to face Tanahashi for the title? Is it going to be Nakamura or is it going to be Makabe? So on the 2nd, Makabe and Yano defeated Hiroki Goto and Milano Collection. in a tag match. But then Rise did pick up a win on the same card, Minoru and Nakamura defeating Tanahashi and Kanamoto. Quick trip back to TNA for Turning Point. Nah, that doesn't matter. It was just that was a really small show by the looks. Eric Young, Kevin Nash and Samoa Joe defeated the Angle Alliance. AJ Styles, Kurt Angle and Tomco. So Tomco's on the same team as Kurt Angle. If you remember back when Kurt Angle made his New Japan debut, it was against Tomco. And now they're on the same team. They're the tag team champions, of course, AJ Styles and Tomco in TNA, and Kurt Angle is the TNA champion. But more significantly for our story here, he is the third belt champion. I actually thought when I got to that point where Sting took the title off Kurt Angle, I was thinking, oh, well, they're doing that so that Kurt Angle goes into the IWGP third belt title match without, it doesn't matter whether he wins or loses because he's not the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Like, they're just kind of getting that out of the way. But no, he's champion again. So that was on the 2nd, but of little significance. On the 5th, back to New Japan, Hiroki Goto and Milano defeated Akira and Liger of Legend. Bernard and Nakamura defeated Togi Makabe and Ishii. Tanahashi, Iizuka and Nagata defeated Chono, Choshu and Super Strong Machine by DQ. I wonder how that happened. They're all kind of good guys. So we move on to the 6th. Legend get their win back. Akira and Chono over Milano and Devitt. Makabe and Yano defeated Minoru and Nakamura. Oh, there's a big win. Makabe getting a win over, probably, I'm sure not directly, but winning a match against Nakamura. Bernard and Goto defeated Tanahashi and Steve Madison. Well, there's a name that hasn't come up on this podcast yet. Steve Madison, wrestler. Let's see. He, the Modern Miracle, Steve Madison. Is this the same guy? He's born in 83, so here he would have been 24. Oh yeah. He's kind of been around the traps, this fella, all over the place. Miracle Violence connection with Eric Stevens. I know that name. Who's Eric Stevens? Oh yeah. Ring of Honor, MLW. But yeah, Miracle Violence connection. That was Terry Gordy and Dr. Death in All Japan back in the 90s. It's one of my favorite tag teams, those guys. They were absolutely brutal. And I feel like Madison and Stevens... Oh, they've got it. Yeah, they've got it here. The name originally used Dr. Death Steve Williams and Bam Bam Terry Gordy. Or Terry Bam Bam Gordy. Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you guys could have lived up to that, but there you go. Little segue there. No, not a segue. Little detour. Okay. Anyway, Steve Madison. I bet Steve Madison lost that match. Put it that way. Although they went 18 minutes. That's kind of crazy. That was the main event for some reason. On the 7th, we had Devitt, Minoru, and Nakamura defeating Ghetto, Giardo, Macabe. So Nakamura gets his win back there. Bernard and Tomco defeated Iizuka and Nagata, but not a tag title match. Akira, Liger, Chono defeated Tanahashi, Naito, and Tiger Mask. Then the next night on the 8th, we had a little bit more of a bigger show here. We had Makabe and Yano defeating Goto and Nakamura. So Makabe goes one up again. Bernard and Tomco, again not a tag title match, but they beat Tanahashi and Nagata. Wow. So both of those are really strong tag matches. And then we had a junior heavyweight title match. Taguchi defended against Wataru Inoue. And I found the match on YouTube, so that'll be linked in the description. They go about 25 minutes before Inoue tangles the champion in the Triangle Lancer, which is a kneeling step over head hold armbar that Inoue uses in a variety of ways, but often it doesn't look very good, in my opinion. In this case, though, he used it to force a submission from Taguchi and claim his first singles gold. We have a new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, Wataru Inoue. And he walks around the ring after the match, the new champion, thanking the fans. He climbs back in to give a short but impassioned thank you on the microphone. And great moment to finish off the year. The fans are pretty into it. But we've got a couple cards left. So on the 9th, the next night again, Goto defeated Yano, Nagata defeated Tomco, and here's a big one. Nakamura defeats Makabe. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the match, but this was the secondary feud of 2007. Of course, Tanahashi and Nagata was the A1 feud of 2007. Fantastic matches. But these guys were really kind of fighting all year for that second place. Makabe in particular. Nakamura was a little bit absent this year of 2007. A little directionless. But yeah, Makabe was in amongst it. Really, I mean, until this moment, I would say the number 3 guy. But Nakamura defeats him here. I found some notes on the match. Makabe was his usual brawling self with a penchant for weaponry, but Nakamura fought through it. He hit the landslide and booked himself a IWGP Championship shot at Wrestle Kingdom 2. And then also on that card, Tanahashi beated Bernard. He beated him good. Oh, motorbike. Thank you, sir. Or ma'am. I appreciate you. 23rd. New Japan Best, Fly Away, Korakuen Hall. Taguchi and Iizuka defeated Masato Tanaka, and Osamu Namaguchi. This is because there's going to be a 0-1 presence at Wrestle Kingdom 2, so there's a bit of a warm-up here with a couple of the 0-1 guys. Tanaka was reportedly made to look very strong in this match, but I'm guessing his partner took the loss there. Chono and Choshu defeated Goto and Nakamura. That doesn't make any sense. Why they're putting Legend over real strong, I'll tell you what. And then Tanahashi defeated Inoue as a fun little heavyweight versus junior heavyweight champion versus champion match. They went just under 20 minutes. Kind of a weird one to throw away. It's an interesting match. I didn't find anything on it. And then the final card of 2007, to wrap this one up, we went a little longer on this one, didn't we? Was Koji Kanamoto defeating Naito, which got a good review. It was just in the undercard opener, but people thought it was pretty good from what I saw. Liger and Chono beat Goto and Minoru, and Tanahashi and Inoue team up now after having their match against each other to defeat Milano and Nakamura to sign off the year, with Tanahashi in his second reign as heavyweight champion, Inoue in his first reign as champion, the junior heavyweight champion. The tag team titles have stayed steady on Giant Bernard and Travis Tomco since March, and surprisingly, the junior heavyweight titles have now stayed on Dick Togo and Taka Michinoku for, I guess, the better part of the year. I mean, that was back at the start of May they won it, so 7 months. Going into 2008 and Wrestle Kingdom, that'll be the next one, unless I think of a way to do some kind of big wrap-up of 2007 kind of show. I think I really just kind of talked about things as they happened. So I'm not sure if that'll be necessary, but I think it'd be good if I could wrap it all up. Maybe even do a little awards show. What were the best matches? What were the things to look out for? highlights, whatnot, maybe. Whatever way it goes, I thank you for listening to this one, and until next time, have a good one.